It is a brisk winter's day in Washington as the eyes of history peer ceaselessly across the street at the White House. We stand in the shadow of Lafayette, that revolutionary hero of two worlds who befriended our first presidents. Lafayette Square, part of President's Park, is our most American of public squares. It is here where I head to the Dolly Madison House, where, on the park's northeast corner, the former First Lady famously hosted much of Washington. And she is perhaps most known for rescuing the Stuart portrait of Washington exactly 200 years ago. Now, on New Year's Day, Dolly had a tradition of opening her home to everyone, regardless of social standing. As I turn back towards the heart of the park, I am thinking about this history of holiday openness when I see a constant park sight. It is a homeless man who lives in Lafayette. For a year, he's always here, come morning or midnight, as sure as a sixth park statue. "Hi, Charlie," I say. He tells me he's about out of food and money and support. By dawn on this day, the start of the winter solstice, hundreds of homeless people lined up nearby for food. Last winter in Washington, the city faced a homeless crisis, according to advocacy groups. Today, facing a new winter, Charlie looks me in the eye and says, "If I don't get help before February, I might die." Lafayette, these 7 acres of historic lore, is our most American of public squares. It is bordered by buildings where we make war and peace, manage currency and opportunity, where art and history and souls are saved. On the one hand, on this land of a long-ago graveyard, there rests a sense of great and historic mortality. In the park's northwest corner, in the long shadow of the revolutionary leader Baron von Steuben's statue, is the home in which one of our first post-revolutionary naval heroes, Stephen Decatur, died after a duel. And just steps from the statue of Lafayette, a congressman shot dead in the street, the son of the Star-Spangled Banner lyricist Francis Scott Key, over an affair with the politician's wife. And 6 years later, near the park's same spot, Secretary of State Seward was stabbed in his home, but survived the attack by one of the Lincoln plot conspirators, who was hanged. On the other hand, against this historic specter of death, breathe American dreams, great and small. The park once housed an orchard and bore the early fruit of freedom, when in 1810, Alethea Browning bought her way out of slavery by selling produce on this very soil. 2 decades later, Decatur House slave Charlotte Dupuy sued Secretary of State Clay for her family's freedom. It's a bitter 15-year battle involving separation and imprisonment before her emancipated family is reunited, unshackled and unbowed. Then, at the Civil War's end, the Freedmen's Savings Bank for emancipated slaves was founded at the square's southeast corner. And a century later, change finally came to St. John's Church on the park's north side. Every president since Madison had sat in these pews. But not a single member was African American by the time Kennedy was in office. Yet, when the March on Washington arrived, so too did the church's expressed embrace of all races. At last, a dream conferred. As I sat in Lafayette throughout this year, morning or midnight, season upon season, one realization became most clear. This historic soil is not simply a staging area for a nation's symptoms. It is also a most American platform for the pure pursuit of social change. Laid bare squarely before the White House windows, this park so often is a holding pen for hope. Where immigration activists demonstrate near the White House's northern border fence, where hundreds of marchers parade past St. John's Episcopal as they salute the life of Muhammad's grandson, where citizens flock to raise their hands to protest a Ferguson grand jury decision, and where the White House Peace Vigil displays its same signs, even on the anniversary of the Pearl Harbor attack. A vigil that has been manned nearly 24/7 since it went up in 1981. The same year that late homeless advocate Mitch Snyder and the CCNV erected a tent city in the square to support their cause and protest White House cuts. So now that another winter is here, what are we doing for the city's homeless 3 decades later? Some homeless folks sleep outside St. John's, even as many area sources of church support say they're stretched thin. Some homeless people here tell me that the streets can be less threatening than the shelter, and less violent. And though the number of homeless veterans is on the decline, Jenny, once posted at Fort Huachuca, she says, has no home on Veterans Day, just hours before the celebrities come to the mall to salute those who serve. Now, we know this to be true. There are few easy answers, and people who have worked professionally, including some of my loved ones, to better the lives of the homeless are true community heroes. But what does it say about us as a nation and a government that even the President's Park cannot fully help its homeless? Is that testament to some shivering civil liberty, the freedom to freeze on America's front stoop? So my immodest proposal for DC leaders is this: start with New Year's Day. With this day one, in that old spirit of holiday openness, may an incoming mayor signal a platform for progress. And may the man in the presidential ball cap, hoodie and rain tarp, this one-man Beckett play on a bench, say waiting for Obama, may he receive some help before his mortally feared February arrives. Because what if January 1st could bring a day of aid to those living in Lafayette and its nearby streets? Otherwise, we are left with one question. Within the President's Park, in our most American of public squares, does America's front porch no longer come equipped with open doors? And when Lafayette peers ceaselessly across the avenue at the White House, is anyone looking back?